Now back to talk footy again, footy and frothies. We're both in an extremely talkative mood.
Yeah.
It seems in the last 20 minutes. But we've both risen off our death beds to get through the show again for each and every one of you. What's going on?
Yeah, not much, mate. Real busy at work, so been doing some real long days the last couple of weeks, and body's starting to feel it, but you get that.
Poor bugger. Yeah, no, don't have much to talk about.
No.
Quiet weekend. My mother didn't want to see me. Kids' mum didn't want to see them, so we got to bond over that. It was
nice.
That was lovely. I laid in bed and felt like dying for a couple of days. So here we are. Hopefully the voice holds up. Mute button might get a workout through a couple of coughing fits, but how was Mother's Day? And happy birthday, happy Mother's Day to all the footy mums out there.
Yeah, no, very good. Mrs. wasn't feeling the best on Sunday morning, so she didn't get the breakfast in bed, but she had a coffee, and we spent the morning with presents, and little one spent a lot of time with her, and then when saw my mother in the afternoon, it was a lovely day.
Cool. I drove past Emu Hall actually over it on the way through, and it was packed out the deck, and there were all the fucking families. The poor blokes lugging kids in their Kmart shirts and their comb over hairs to go and sit there miserable with their fucking family for 3 hours. Poor bastards. Anyway, I did have to do it. It was good. So, apart from that, all for what reward? There's not much in that, is there? Listen to your kid fucking whinge because they watch Blue in your phone and go home and have your missus say she's too tired for any fucking missionary sex. But anyway, we move on. There's another
good weekend.
I'm in a good mood.
Yeah.
There's another rot in the weekend where Croatia were robbed at the Eurovision contest, but add it to the list of shit we've seen lately. News, anything catch your eye from league or?
Not particularly, mate. No, as I said, been pretty busy doing other things. I sat down and did all the reviews and everything. But there were some good games, and a couple of teams that probably underperformed a little bit, realistically. But
we'll get
a whole heap of injuries.
There is a lot of injuries. We may as well start there. Cleary hamstring 8 weeks. And Nico's been named this week, but did his calf. Mm-hmm. We've got Turbo hamstring. He's got 2 months as well. Sean Johnson groin. Or hamstring, AJ groin. Stafford Toa hamstring. John Bateman, the pec, he's out for 3 months. RTS hamstring extended. Mm-hmm. Saab's done his shoulder. Billy Walters has done his wrist. Interesting on that because actually you don't think if Smoothie's going to get a good 4 or 5 weeks at hooker, I'm actually tempted to have a look at that, but I don't know. Here's one, I don't know how bad it is. Foreign hamstring. Brimson groin. Sammy hamstring. Harley Smith Shields. Another leg injury, and there's more since, I believe, that's come out as well.
Titans are running around without a bench there for the last 10 minutes of that game.
That was an incredible game, actually. The finish of it was anyway. I wouldn't say the other 75 minutes, but and just for Penrith, Schneider did his knee in reserve grade, so
yes.
On New South Wales Cups, he's out as well.
Jack Cole, I believe.
Luai 7, Cole at 6 this week, which would be interesting. And you can't really say bad luck at the moment.
There's some big takeaways. There's obviously some teams that are going to be very inconvenienced going forward now. It's obviously some of the bigger names in the comp as well going down and missing games. Apparently Hines was tightness, but Trindle's been named in the extended bench, so wouldn't be surprised for Nico Hines, Supercoach holders out there. Maybe have a look at a second option just in case he gets ruled out an hour before the game again.
You know what the interesting thing will be? If he's had the tap on the shoulder from Madge, he'll probably sit out.
I'm sure he would have had a second tap on the shoulder.
Well, now, especially now.
After Cleary's gone down
so I would suspect if there's any doubt at all, you won't see him, or you'll see.
And even if he does feel right to play this game, Sharks are in no need of a win this weekend, realistically. No. Obviously, they want one, and they'd want to keep.
It's a nice statement to make.
They want to keep doing what they're doing and come up and put the Roosters away if possible. But if it comes down to a proposition, even if it's 80-20, I imagine they'll sit him out.
Yeah, so. I think so. I am baffled as to what to do with him in Supercoach, given I've got Hughes as well.
You just got to hang on for the ride now, I think.
Everyone's in the same boat. So I've lost Manu. Manu's out this week as well. You mentioned him.
Yes.
I've lost him. There was more. There's more I forgot as well. Yeah. Just carnage. You can only say bad luck, though. I don't think you can necessarily point to anything. I know there's been commentary about short turnarounds, about 6 agains and all sorts of bullshit, but...
Yeah, the game's a bit faster. Obviously, the wet tracks probably don't help. 2 weeks in a row of flooded grounds. Obviously, you've got to put a bit extra to get through the ground in those kind of conditions. But, yeah, you could point to a whole heap of different factors. Yeah, as you said, short turnarounds, travel, jumping on planes and, taking that extra training day out of the roster and all that kind of stuff. But it's part of professional sport, isn't it? That happens in all codes.
I actually have grown to really love the Thursday night games just because I hate waiting so long for footy. But it wouldn't be the end of the world if they moved to an extra Sunday
Pack
game.
it up on the weekends.
Yeah, I think perhaps maybe that's worth revisiting. At least short turnaround's only 6 days. They'll manage it this week.
I can't see that happening with television rights and the
like.
like.
100%. Yeah, exactly right. Judiciary, Harry Grant's off to fight his charge.
So he should.
Rightfully so. I mean, you can make the argument that Atkinson did more damage to Harry Grant there, the more you watch it,
Quite possibly.
than Harry did to him. I actually cracked the shits in that game.
They're obviously just doing it to... This is a statement from the Melbourne Storm. And
of course. And of course, someone
himself.
someone has to draw a line.
The fact that he can't possibly miss any weeks over it probably doesn't hurt either.
No.
It's just an extra $500 or something.
Yeah, plus a lot. Apparently, the lawyer will cost more than the $500 or whatever it was, $1,000. But I thought that was fast score. I cracked the shits in that. When that happened, I was the build up of those 3 games and shit throughout those 3 games. I was just like, you know what, this will be our last year of this show because I was done with rugby league. It managed to redeem itself a bit on Sunday, and I'm in a better mood now. But between fucking disruptors and shields and 6 agains, where there's never any explanation to why some teams get these 6 agains out of nowhere. Then you'll watch a player's kept on the ground for a minute and nothing goes on with it. Then there's just no consistency.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Piggyback penalties that never get explained, like just shit like that. And then these sin bins, I just had a gut full of it all. And as you know, we've been doing this for 5 years, and we've tried to not talk about refereeing, but fuck man, it's gotten hard this year. It really has. But
the last 2 weeks been near impossible.
And then there was a crackdown on whatever back chat and behaviour, and so that first half of the Sharks game, Atkins had to ref it like he was Mr. School Principal again and had to try and discipline everyone every 5 minutes. In the second half, he stopped and it actually became a better game for the most part. But they just missed the point sometimes, I think. And then
I think he was just trying to keep them apart in that game, to be honest. Really, really pinning down on that on the 10 metres to try and actually make it a better spectacle of a game. But neither side were having it.
And the most annoying thing about it all is that the skill level of the actual players has never been better. Mm-hmm. The game quality when let be has never been better. And we're going to get to Origin in 3 weeks, and G will referee it. They'll blow 2 penalties all game. Mm-hmm. Everyone will go, it's the best game all year. And then they'll go back to the same shit week in, week out the next week.
Pick something else.
And it's like, and then all the wanker shit about, oh, if it's this hard, you go do it yourself. I fucking will. Like, I'll go sit in the bunker for 8 games and do it myself. And it'll probably make 4 times as much as I'm getting paid now. Anyway, Dave Fafita's going to the Chooks after all that. Good for him.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Pretty easy sell, really, isn't it? Lifestyle, whatever else that comes along with the contract at the Roosters.
Yeah.
Whole heap of business people that they've got within the clubs that seem to, if you're there for long enough, they give you a pretty good lead into the rest of your life after footy. So,
obviously there's now question marks with Angus Crichton. There is a mute button.
I can't reach it.
That's right. Yes. Let me know and I'll seal this for the show.
Sorry, mate.
That's all right. I saw there's a commentary that Tupanua was on 650k.
Really?
So apparently there's 4 mil up. There was 4 mil to spend.
Well, he's the first bloke out the door then,
well,
realistically.
I just don't understand how he's on 650. There was 4 million going between 5 blokes. You've then got 23 other players, including the Australian captain, the New Zealand dummy half, an English international lock, all the rest of them sharing the 3 chip packets and a parking spot at Bondi between them. Like, yeah, anyway. I know. But
one of life's mysteries. You'll never work that out, mate.
No.
You can have as many theories as you want.
I can't, but anyway.
And even if they showed you the books, I don't think you'd understand what's going on. Well, obviously not, because they show the NRL the books, and I'm pretty sure they don't know exactly what's going on either.
Apparently, look, Harry Grant's been found not guilty by the judiciary.
Yeah, right.
Shock me.
I understand it as being a penalty, as that they've made a point of it over the last 4 weeks. Whenever it started with Sean Johnson's one 3-4 weeks ago, which raised a few eyebrows, but yeah, there never should have been a sin bin.
No,
which did change the momentum of that game. But
absolutely,
we'll get to that.
Did. The Wade Egan's re-signed with the Warriors till 2027. Good for him. Hopefully, he can keep his head out of trouble.
Yeah,
for the next 3 years.
He's not getting injured. He's getting knocked out, isn't he?
Yeah, poor bugger. And not a lot of other news around. There was some news today about Adam Dewey being offered a bottom-end contract at the Tigers.
Okay.
It's been rebutted and say that wasn't a conversation, that basically they're going to keep the 30th spot in the squad open next year if he wants it, but they'll let him get back on the field and work it out next year rather than give any hoo-ha about what's good. Which suggests to me there'll be some of the other 29 players being moved on.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. And with the Tigers' injuries this week as well, especially, a very thin squad. Looks very, very thin now. And, yeah, anyway, if I was betting on spoons, I would be backing them. That's about it. Anything else? No?
A couple other teams that have been digging themselves a pretty big hole at the moment as well.
So. I know how this plans. I've seen this story before. Anything else?
True optimism of a Tigers fan.
Hey, I'll give an early salute here. Their last 4 home games have been sold out, which is an incredible effort for a team that's won 2 spoons in a row. So kudos to them. Kudos to, there's some, I don't know if it's mocking, but Shane Richardson put out the email, which I got earlier in the week, to his members, just give an update. I think it's good communication. He's doing a good job with the members drive. And the club's in safe hands, but it's a very, very slow process fixing 10 years of
well, as you said, it's got to start at the top, and it seems like there's a bit of structure going in and around the top of the club. How long it takes to filter down, and as you said, there's probably quite a few question marks around the playing roster as well. So,
yeah,
I dare say there's a couple of years in the works here.
We'll save that for the game. But Dolphins, nothing else.
Not particularly.
Catch your eye. Well, of all the salary cap teams, apparently Kalen Ponga's dad's now involved in a third-party deal where he reported a third party to the NRL for not paying their part of the equation, I believe, allegedly is the situation, which is now going to spark an investigation. So good luck to all parties there. Dolphins 30, Manly 24, though, kicked us off to start the round. A try-for-try game for the most part.
Yep.
And you can do the stats when I get my book.
Yeah, we had 5 tries to 4, 3 out of 5 conversions for the Dolphins, 3 out of 4 for the Manly side, 2 out of 2 penalty attempts, and 1 out of 1 penalty attempt for Manly. It was 2016 at halftime in favour of the Dolphins. 83% completion, played 82%. 111 plus running metres for the Dolphins. 4 line breaks apiece, 24 tackle busts played 25. 9 offloads from both teams. 1 forced dropout to 2. 323 tackles played 308. 7 errors to 9. 6 penalties conceded to 4. 2 ruck infringements to 3. 1 inside the 10 against the Dolphins side. Tommy Talau with 84 Supercoach points, Ewan Aitken with 83, and Tom Trbojevic with 76.
Yeah, try for try, as I said, for a good 60 minutes. Tommy going off probably cruelled Manly's chances a bit, but I didn't think they were particularly great, to be honest.
They were getting run over at that point. Yeah.
It's what we've seen enough, probably the last month, where just once they get into the cycle, is the phrase, that middle just gets owned.
And that cycle, yes, not great. One of the ones that you like to see, the Rugby League eye test put something out today on pre-contact meters. So basically how fast teams are getting up off their line. And Manly are the 4th worst, basically. They're conceding 7 metres before contact.
Who's South?
Before contact. I'm pretty sure it was South, yeah. Cowboys were up. I think the Cowboys were up there. I can't remember off the top of my head. I just know that he was making a point around Manly and how their pre-end post-contact meters are some of the worst in the competition. So that leads to obviously them getting owned in the middle there a bit, and a lot of it's got to do with their line speed. But Yeah, as I said, I thought it was a highly entertaining game. Kept me entertained for this one. Some really nice touches of skill, but there was a bit of scrappy stuff in there as well, which you expect from both of these teams that are willing to throw the ball around. Heaps of effort and desire from the Dolphins. That last half an hour or so, they were putting shots on.
You know the best thing to happen to the Dolphins. Sorry, I just butted in there.
No.
But because you mentioned him, the best thing that's happened to the Dolphins this year, and the reason I think they can go deepish into the finals more I think about this, they've unearthed 2 will-be stars in Katoa, but Max Plath, he will be a star. He's
looking that way.
Tries so hard. Was he the one that was on the big money at Melbourne?
Out with no, that's Howarth.
Oh, Howarth. We never seen ever again.
That we never saw ever again. I'm pretty sure Plath came from the Titans.
Okay. But those 2 are they will be, they are guns, but they will be stars. And I reckon Max Plath, he got injured here, but he was the best player on the field for the half hour and a bit he was on the field, I thought.
Yeah, close to it. I think Trey Fuller would probably throw a few question marks around
Herbie,
Herbie had
brilliant.
a tremendous game as well, yeah. But yeah, the first half was full of attacking football, some really big hits, a bit of leaky defence, especially from the Dolphins. Would probably be a bit upset with a couple of the tries that the Manly side managed to put on, just with some poor defence at the start of the game. But yeah, Manly again out to shift early to the edges, which is just become every week. You know, the first 15, 20 minutes, they're going straight to the edge of the field as fast as they can. And I think that's a bit to get away from the middle, to be honest.
Yeah.
But, they did it with success. They were playing pretty high up tempo at the start. That's when they do actually go all right in the middle, it's more about them hitting their front and trying to get quick play the balls. So they're not really struggling through the line or trying to power through the line. It's just getting good leg speed, getting to the ground and getting back up again. So, and they were doing that well at the start. Pulled the defence in from the Dolphins, and then they went around them, obviously. Nice intercept from Aiken.
He's since he's come back from being dropped, I think he had a little niggle or something along the way. He's been great since he's come back.
But yeah, he was fantastic. DCE again, I think it was. He's thrown a couple this year.
He gets right into that line, and then he'll throw real flat.
But
he has thrown a few. Luke Brooks has thrown a few too, and took one here.
Yep, Brooksy managed to latch onto one as well, as you mentioned, and ran upfield and got some points.
He tried very hard, Brooksy. I'll give him that.
He did. He actually had quite a good game, I thought. One of his better games for the year, considering he's been a bit quiet the last few weeks. The last 15 minutes of the first half, the Dolphins really started to put the pressure back on Manly by going through that middle with Kafusi, Bromwich's, Plath, really sped up the ruck, and that tackle that they missed on Lemuelu was a simple inside ball drop off, and basically nobody touched him. He runs over and scores next to the post. That was horrible, and it just come from exertion, and I think they were exhausted at the back end of that game. But he just strolled through, and then Fuller put on some magic with that lovely little chip and chase for himself. Popped up a few times in that spot on the field and cut him open through where DCE defends, and whoever was outside him caused them quite a few problems. I think it's Garrick out there, but
he didn't have his greatest game.
Broke him open a few times in there. I thought Kafusi was really good in defence again, put on some massive hits, and decent with the ball. Not as strong a ball runner as he used to be, but their defence, they were. Yeah, there was a good period in this game for probably 15 minutes of the back end of the first half and the first 20 minutes of the second half where they were attacking with their defence. They were really pushing Manly back in the middle of the field and hitting them hard.
Josh Kerr plays a big part in that. I know I've wrapped him a couple of times.
No, that's true.
He had his, he played 20 minutes, but he made up nearly 100 metres there. But yeah, Kafusi, him, and Plath when he gets into his work, they all get up and just get in the face and work really hard.
And they do seem to really lift the gear as well.
Yeah,
they they go out of their way once they do start to feel like they're getting on top to really speed up the middle of the field, and obviously helps with a couple of smaller blokes with the leg speed going through the middle. They generally go they'll go a big prop or a big back rower, and then two smaller blokes through the middle, and then shift to their edges. And if they do it quick enough, they normally get the defence on the back foot. I thought Cooler and Talau were very good for the Manly side. Obviously, injuries hurt bad. The Saab early in the game, I think he played about 17 minutes or something, maybe even less.
Yep.
And then Drabojevic towards the back end of the game took a bit of the strike out of the Manly side. But Tom and Brooks were probably the best players for the Manly side. DCE and Jake were good, but not great. The rest of the side, probably not worth mentioning. I've already mentioned Plath, who's fantastic. Kafusi. Lemuelu and Nichols had good games again.
Yep. Yeah, stick with us, guys. We're only dying here.
I think Nichols has been tremendous for this side, especially the last probably month. His impact off the bench has been huge.
Can score a try now.
Yeah.
Can't stop scoring tries.
Jagging tries, but even just ball in hand, the way he's bouncing players off and just never dies in the tackle, continually post-contact meters, which is getting them on the front foot. Averillo, Farnworth were very good in the centres. They caused a whole heap of problems out wide for the Manly defence. And, Fuller and Aiken were awesome. They were two of the better players on the field, I thought.
How deep do Dolphins go this year?
Well, I can't see them missing the 8.
No, I don't think they miss 8 at all.
I think they could even be 6, somewhere between 6th and 4th, realistically.
Stamp them. I haven't studied their draw, but I'd almost stamp them 6. Maybe even 6th or 5th.
An injury in the halves would probably really stretch them.
Yeah.
As you've got their two halves, they're going quite well in Katoa and Nicarima, but I'm not sure what kind of backup
Sullivan,
they've got there.
O'Sullivan, who we haven't seen,
who's been out of favour.
And Milford, who he's there too.
Milford's been finished for a while.
But they do. I guess Trey Fuller's coming to scene. Hammer's back this week, so Fuller could potentially.
Never know.
They could shuffle around there. Maybe shuffle Averillo in there. Sad to his player there before. Yeah. Anyway, they're going really well. They've done. I'm happy to see it. They're easy to watch. So I'm going to say, I was thinking along the lines of, if he stays in the field, I'd almost have given Plath 3, but obviously only played about half hour. Herbie was top of the pops for me, just about. But who did you come up with?
I had Fuller. I thought his impact at very critical times in the game to get him on the front foot and put points on when they needed it. I thought Aiken worked himself into the ground as well as the intercept try. He did plenty of other good work. And then I had either Farnworth, Brooks, or Mark Nichols for the 1.
And if Tommy stays in the field, he would finish.
He would have been in the points for sure.
Easily.
Yeah.
Let's go. How does this sound? Let's go with. We'll go Fuller 3, Herbie 2, and Aiken 1.
Yeah.
And then get to the Friday night, which kicked off 16-10. Panthers holding on, essentially, for a good 45 minutes in the second half to defend their lead with a couple of penalties along the way in a bit of a nothing-happening game. But what did the stats say?
There was plenty happening. There was just the execution was really poor at times during the game. 2 tries apiece, 2 out of 2 conversions for the Panthers, 1 out of 2 for the Dogs. 2 out of 2 penalty attempts for the Penrith team. It was 12-0 at halftime, 78% completion, played 75%, 3 line breaks to 6. 54 tackle busts for the Panthers, 33 for the Dogs. 7 offloads to 9, 2 forced dropouts from both sides. 350 tackles played, 376. 12 errors from both sides. 3 penalties conceded to 9, 2 ruck infringements to 1. 3 inside the 10s against the Bulldogs. Garner and Carraz both got 100 Supercoach points, and then you had Brian Toto with 86.
Yeah, good game, Carraz. What did you make of this, though?
Yeah, good 15 minutes to start the game. Both teams were given plenty of effort. Given as good as they were getting in the middle of the field, it was a pretty good battle there for the first 10 minutes in the middle. Penrith were a little bit sloppy with the ball. The handling errors early in the game gave the Dogs a few early shots at them. Which has probably been the Dogs' biggest problem this year, is the ball's not getting out to their outside backs quick enough. And when it does, it's pressuring the guys that are out there to really have to make something happen, because they're sort of a bit stagnant when they're hitting the ball. And that forced them into error as well out wide with the Dogs. They either get it really right, maybe 3 times out of 10, and it works a treat, and they just go scooting down the edges, or it gets held up and they get stuck in that center fullback position, center wing position. It's technical issues.
There you go. Got what you can
But all good.
Right. We're flying here tonight.
After about that 15-minute period, the Panthers seemed to make an effort of trying to speed up the middle again. It was a bit like that this weekend, where teams really benefited from playing an up-tempo speed through the middle of the field, and it changed the game quite a bit. But what really changed the game was Cleary's kicking game, I thought. For the rest of the first half, he had it on a string. Long kicks, forcing the Bulldogs back into corners. Obviously, those bombs that he puts up, one wobbles, one doesn't, one spirals and spins, and one just floats. Caused all sorts of problems there for the Bulldogs. And Penrith made them pay. When they did get opportunities, they cashed in. Toto scoring a try over on one side, and then I think it was Garner managed to crash over again. He's turned himself into a bit of a try sneak since Sorensen's been out.
Him and Luai are actually putting together a good combination there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, obviously 2 weeks in a row, but it's actually one I wouldn't say no to seeing at the Tigers next year, given that I think they're shopping Garner around.
Yeah, okay.
That might change, to be honest, given his recent form. But and if they can sign another back rower. But no, they're putting together some good work.
Yeah, and
he did have to beat 8 blokes as well to score that.
That's right. And Cleary, obviously, injury just before half-time really seemed to take the steam out of any of the attack from Penrith. They looked rudderless at times, very out of control in the second half with their attack. But when you start the second half and you kick the thing out on the full, and then the Panthers can't kick the thing out on the full, they have back-to-back errors in the space of 15 seconds or whatever it was. It's a bit of what was the rest of the game, realistically. I think if the Dogs got this right, they probably should have run away with this game towards the back end of the game. But
that halfback, they probably win.
Yeah, they did lift the physicality, and I thought they had it over Penrith for a good patch in this second half, where they were going through the middle of the field, kick out down an edge. They had a couple of nice shifts of the ball and got away down some edges, but as Penrith do, they've generally always got another jersey there to clean up and make those tackles. As I mentioned, they looked a little bit lost and a bit under pressure, and they made a few errors, especially around the 20-minute mark of the second half, and that's sort of when the Dogs cashed in a little bit. Burton with his effort on his own, which he's made a good habit of, but. I don't know. I don't think they get anywhere near Penrith if Cleary stays on the field. I think the attack's a lot different, and Penrith go on to score probably another 2 or 3 tries in that second half. But they just couldn't seem to put any real ball-playing pressure on the Dogs' defence.
Penrith are more right for the picking in the next 6 weeks than they've been from 4 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you had to play Penrith at all, you'd be lining up in the next couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I said it was last week before I said it's coming, but you as a Sharks fan, for example, would be licking your lips if you can get a full-strength team against this Penrith team in a couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. So I think you've just got to, if you're in tipping comps or whatever, give it some second thought. Not necessarily saying go and take them on or tip against them, but
the Dogs were
the ore is dimming.
Yeah, it is a little bit. The Dogs were their own worst enemy at times as well, giving away the amount of penalties that they gave away. And errors at crucial times when, as I said, with the ball trying to spread, but a lot of that does come from the slow ball playing that they get out of the one half anyway.
How are you giving up some points here?
We'll go through a couple of the guys thought went pretty well.
This game,
Crichton, Josh Adokar, they were decent. So was Sam Hughes. I thought Max King had a very good game. So did Reid again. Wasn't as mouthy in this one for some reason. Still had a few shots. Burton and Kiraz were fantastic for the Dogs. The two benchies for Penrith, I thought Lindsay Smith and Liam Henry had a decent decent shift in this one. Did some good work when they were on the field. Alamote again impresses. Someone's got to be coming looking for him, I would imagine. I don't know if Penrith will want to let him go, just as he's such a good cover.
I think you get plenty of football out of him, don't you, end of the day.
Luai, Fisher-Harris were good. Cleary was very good early, as I mentioned, his kicking game. Edwards, Brian To'o were fantastic, but it was Garner again. He put in another really good shift. I don't know where this form's come from. It was like when he crashed onto the scene back with the Tigers and then it disappeared for 2 years. But he's been in fantastic form, and Yo just does what he always does. He was 9 out of 10 today, and at worst he's an 8 out of 10.
So what, 3-3 Yo?
I gave it to Garner just for, he got the points, another couple of tries, and he did plenty of work. I think he was up around the 30 tackles. And 100-odd metres. And then we had Yo for 2, and then I either had Edwards or Burton or Kiraz.
I was going to give it to Kiraz. I thought he deserved points in this game.
Yeah. I thought Kiraz was probably, more over the top of the other two.
Broncos 30, Eels 14. Next off the rank in a game, I don't want to say flattered Brisbane, but I didn't think Eels were that bad, all things considered, in this game.
Better than they have been.
Their final execution probably let them down ultimately, but...
Oh, absolutely.
They created enough chances and were absolutely up to their eyeballs in this game a long way through. But what did the stats say first?
Yeah, we had 2 tries to 5, 2 out of 2 conversions played, 5 out of 5, 1 out of 1 penalty attempts for Parramatta. It was 18-8 at half-time in favour of the Broncos. 62% completion played, 73%. 211 running metres for Parramatta and 71 plus post-contact metres for Parramatta. 4 line breaks apiece, 48 tackle busts by Parramatta, 37 by the Broncos. 19 offloads to 6, 2 forced dropouts apiece. 347 tackles played, 339. 14 errors to 11. 3 penalties conceded to 4. 1 ruck infringement to 2. Dylan Brown with 96 Supercoach points, Walsh with 93, and Blaze Tulagi with 93.
Yeah, as I said, I thought this was a competitive game. Parramatta were up for the physicality for a lot of it, except Payne Haas is on a completely different level to everyone else running around in a front rower's shirt at the moment, but he was incredible in this game. But the rest of it matched up fairly well. Blaze Tulagi had had his breakout game in first grade. Bit of luck, he probably could have scored another
at fullback,
2 tries.
Where he's played his entire career. What a surprise.
X Factor. They keep talking about X Factors they want. I don't know if he was... He's not quite Reece Walsh, but he was in the right spot all the time. And I said a couple of bounces of the ball, or he comes up with the 2 or 3 tries.
Pace, footwork, and does seem to have a decent pass on him as well. So could do worse than possibly giving him an extended shot back there.
Well, he's going to get a good month now.
Yeah,
which saves my ass in Supercoach, to be honest. But anyway.
Okay. I thought Parramatta looked pretty good for probably 3 periods of about 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. The first 15, 10 minutes of the last 10 minutes of the first half, 10 minutes of the second half, and another 15 minutes later on. But direct running, Brown jumping on the back of it. He goes really well when they start pushing that line backwards, and he loves it. A little bit of broken field and open space in behind it, which the offloads really helped as well. He was all over the place, Dylan Brown. I thought he was fantastic.
Yep.
Tulagi's interjections, some of the timing was really nice. Just the way he sort of float around the back and then really seemed to know when to put the gas on and hit the line at the right time just to open them up. Thought was particularly good. The problem is there's 15 minutes periods where they're rubbish.
Yeah.
Their defence just goes out the window. They're completely gassed. There's blokes walking. There's blokes looking in the wrong direction. It's just all over the place. And that's what happened here. They bombed one early, which didn't help. And the defence was decent for that first 15 minutes, as I said, but then they got opened up easily at times. Broncos had a couple of lucky tries with the ball hitting the ground or things just seemed to bounce the Broncos' way, which probably flattered them a little bit because I don't think they were anywhere near their best either. But, the first try come off a drop ball where Ezra scoops it up, runs down, puts Walsh away. And then a lot of kicking from the Broncos just in behind the line, obviously, to test out the young fullback who got it right half the time. He was out of position a couple of times, which led to led to points, but you got to expect that with a young fella coming through. Mariner had a fantastic game again. He's just got blinding pace, doesn't he?
He's now in a conversation for one of the best finishers in the game.
And deceptively strong. Seems to be able to break tackles and hold.
Breaks tackles. He's just one of those ones that can score, get low and score in a corner when, like your 2-0s and co. Took the intercept here. And you just love having a winger where if you get a bit of broken field and you get the ball to them, you know they're home.
But he was away with another one. You know, it was a drop ball or as an intercept. He ran pretty much the length of the field to go down the other end of the field.
Ezra had the other one, didn't it? Where he got the intercept and passed off to Walsh.
Yeah, that's right. Another drop ball, and he ran 70 metres before and got pulled down just before half time, and it made the score a lot worse than it probably should have because Parramatta were competitive for most of the first half.
Yeah.
Tried pretty hard, but this is the style of play that they played is the way that they have to play because they don't really seem to have any other option. They need to be direct, they need to be physical, and play with that offloading game. And 19 offloads here is where they opened them up a fair few times, but they didn't have that killer pass in them or that killer kick to really finish it all off.
They weren't far off, but they if you're a Para fan, you'd watch it go, okay, there's hope. I don't know what that hope means because I think they had a terrible draw coming up too. But they were in the right position to do a lot of things right for all those periods you spoke about. Yeah. It was just either that last pass or I'd bounce the ball on a couple of occasions.
Yeah, bounce the ball a couple of times. Yeah, realistically.
I think a grubber beat Talangi dead. There was another one where he. The last pass let him down and stuff like that. Was it a forward pass? Was that in this one? Yeah.
But then Brown gets a one-on-one steal as well, which
that is
a
true.
bit of luck that went their way.
Which went in a 14
went on points. Line, yeah. But there was, he had to work hard to get it off the bloke. It wasn't. He didn't just give it to him. It was a really good steal. And they got back to 18-14, and probably that's would be the most disappointing thing from the Parramatta fans because once they got to that position, they went for another one of those 10-minute flat periods where everything that could go wrong seemed to go wrong. A couple of blokes. There's a few blokes in that team that don't seem fully committed.
No,
for mine, and they get completely lost in the game.
We're at the stage now where I wouldn't be bothering with Sivo unless he gets a ball 10 metres out from the opposition line 1-on-1. He's not interested. Produces. Barely cracks 100 metres every week, drops 2 balls in back play, gets turned around.
Constantly.
Just, I don't know he doesn't bring much to the table. Like, 5 years ago, he was steamrolling blokes. Now all the wingers are the same size.
Yeah. Most of them, yeah.
Or a lot of them are.
And even the smaller blokes can generally put on a pretty good tackle, Another magic little chip in this game with Ezra chipping for himself.
Yeah, it's stamp on what I said the other week about him as a first receiver if they ever need him. I think he'd be good because he went looking a lot in this game. And that said, Josh Rogers was good. I thought he was he's perfectly serviceable here.
As a general kicking game and getting the guys into the position, he was quite good. I don't know where the fullback was on that chip. I know they'd been stretched to one side of the field, which is probably why the chip went in. He might have been over there making a tackle, but... as I mentioned earlier, Broncos had a few tries come from good fortune, bounce of the ball and etc. But they were the better team for longer periods than Parramatta. Carrigan's quietest game for a while. I could imagine. I saw him walking around a few times, which you never see from Pat Carrigan. So
I don't know if he's quite right.
He still got through a bit of work.
Yeah, he was still second to meters and everything, but. Was fairly quiet. I thought Selwyn Cobbo went now back to centre. Obviously suited him much better than last week. He went looking for a bit. It was physical. Scored a very nice. He got there right in the line off a grubber. Both the centres were good in this game actually, but Cobbo especially I thought was involved more than we've seen for a bit.
Yeah, thought Penasini was decent. Lane and Madison were okay. They did a fair bit of work, but nothing outstanding. Hopgood's very good for him every week. Simonson had a game.
Mm-hmm.
He was very physical, ball in hand, made plenty of meters. It seemed to be breaking tackles at will at different parts of the game as well. And Talangi and Brown were the X factors, as you mentioned. I think the only ones that really looked like opening up the Brisbane defence during the game. Smoothie and Jensen were good. Mariner and Mam were very good. I thought that they were fantastic. Walsh was erratic at times, but again was enormous for this team, and so was Haas and Ricky. I thought they had massive games. Especially Jordan Ricky, considering sometimes he can be very quiet out on an edge. He was very dominant out there.
Yeah, last week he was quiet, only because I knew him, because I was talking through my pocket at the time, but he was good, yeah. 3 points to Payne Hayes. I went 2 to... I almost want to go 2 to Mariner, but Talangi 2, Mariner or Brown 1. Or are you going somewhere else?
I thought Walsh deserved a point, but yeah, Haas. I had Haas, Brown, and then Talangi or Walsh.
We'll go Haas, Talangi. Oh, hang on, Haas, Talangi, Brown.
Yep. Okay.
In losing efforts there. You right to keep going? Or do you want more game?
Yeah, mate. Go for it.
All right, 20-14. Knights over the Tigers here. Out at Tamworth, you got stats.
3 tries to 4. 1 out of 3 conversions played. 2 out of 4. No penalties for the Tigers. Missed penalty attempt for the Newcastle side. A sin bin from both teams. 6-8 at half-time to the Knights. 82% completion played, 85%. 312 plus running metres for Newcastle. 4 line breaks to 5. 27 tackle busts played, 38. 202 plus kick return metres for Newcastle. So they're bringing it back off their line at a big rate. I think one of those was a big break as well, which helps.
Oh, yeah. Appy put in a fucking perfect kick and they went 100 metres and scored. So there's 100 of them. Anyway.
This was plus the Tigers. Anyway, 6 offloads to 5. 3
plus the Tigers.
On top of, 202 over the top of the Tigers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's it. Yeah.
3 forced dropouts to 4. A 40-20 for the Newcastle side. 358 tackles played, 336. 10 errors to 9. 6 penalties conceded by the Tigers, 1 by Newcastle, which I find preposterous, but anyway. 2 ruck infringements to 1. 1 inside the 10 to 2. Mentioned a sin bin each. Bradman Best with 123 Supercoach points. Papali'i with 121. And your favourite, 5'8", Bud Sullivan with 94.
He was fine. He
was good.
He was
at the start of the game.
In the attack, he was... Yeah. Well, he's involved at just about in all the points, but he... You need to see a bit more of him for the rest of the field.
And he's a spot in defence. But the first half an hour, he was quite good.
Well, just to finish on him, the best thing he can do, I think, is go and watch Cody Nikorima, because he's best footy, and when he's at the Dragons, a bit similar, but he played a lot of dummy half, when he can just get in the line there and just get... He's quick enough to just sort of sneak under someone or throw an arm out and throw those short balls. Story of this game was that the Knights... It was... Well,
it's a bit of a
I don't want to say exactly. I don't want to say evenly matched, because the Knights had more than a fair share of ball. I thought the Tigers' defence, all things considered, was good for the most part, because they held on for 10, 15-minute chunks on their own line, on the Tigers' own line. And 12 months ago, it would have been 30-0 half-time.
Yep.
But that said, when I look at it all, it was evenly matched, all bar the outside backs. And Bradman Best and Gay Guy, Bradman Best, Daylight, Gay Guy, gave our outside backs a bath, particularly poor old Brett Navy.
Doesn't help when you lose Toa.
And again,
it was Stafford off after 7 minutes or something.
Well, the same as we saw last week.
Outside back.
Losing outside back. All of a sudden, you got Bateman out there. All of a sudden, he tears a peck at half time. Next minute, you've got you have to move Papali on the other side of the field. He was having his best game in Tigers colours up until that point, etc., etc., etc. And then all of a sudden, safe halves in the centres.
Bateman copped a bath, the poor bastard.
Yeah. So, and possibly with one arm for a big chunk of that.
Yeah, which wouldn't help, obviously.
But as you said, Bradman Best was the difference.
By a mile. Yeah. They don't win it without him, I don't think.
No, and I don't say both sides of the ball. We did some decent on defence, but they don't get close without him.
And Frizzell had a really good game coming back.
Yeah.
I thought he was massive for the Newcastle team. There's only one thing I could think of that's worse than being a Tigers supporter at the moment.
Okay, what's that?
Having to watch the fucking football that the teams that play the Tigers produce every week when you don't want to watch it.
I know.
Fuck, those teams come up against the Tigers and they play some shit footy, man, for extended periods of
and
the
then inevitably,
game.
and then an hour in you're angry, and inevitably there's some fucking ridiculous bunker call,
Yeah.
i.e. Appy scoring it and being pushed into Twal, who's standing next to the play, but because he got pushed into the bloke, it counts as burrowing.
When there's 3 defenders there.
Apparently that's burrowing because he's been moved by the defender at every possible chance to stop him. Anyway, there's always one of them. And the other thing is death taxes and the opposition scoring in the last minute against the Tigers before half-time.
Yeah.
Or last 5 minutes without fail.
There was some messy football in this one, but there was a couple of nice moments. As you mentioned, Papa Lee had his best game in Tigers colours. He was really hard to stop at different times during this game. Got up and going. First half was a fairly decent matchup. He scrambled well and did. You probably exceeded, as you mentioned, with the defence to be able to keep it as close as it was.
Well, if Stafford doesn't do his hammy, he scores.
True.
And then we're ahead with our centre on the field. Mm-hmm. This is what it's like. Anyway.
Some really good contact in defence from both teams early in the game. Sullivan basically gifted Papa Lee his first try. That was all off the back of him with just some footwork and got on the inside of a few defenders that were pushing too hard to come across in cover and set up Papa Lee for that first try. A lot of back and forth and no one really sort of created much. And as you said, it came down to one-on-one efforts from Bradman Best. Like a couple of times he just grabbed the ball and left the defence grasping at thin air as he either just burnt someone on the outside or just pushed through defenders and then runs 50 metres downfield, whether he scores one himself or sets somebody else up. He was absolutely terrorising Staines. Like he went after Staines with a passion. And then he was cutting back in against the halves and the second rowers as well. But he really started to break. He seemed like he was going to break the line every time he touched the ball there at one point.
Yeah,
towards
especially
the back end of the game.
Yeah. He won them the game. It's quite easy. I have no issue sitting here just saying he won them the game.
Yeah,
and that's it.
And it's probably close to Sullivan's best game he's ever played.
Yeah.
Whether it's
the only other one I could think of was against the Tigers, where he scored those 2 tries.
St George, back in start of last year.
Yeah, it was
middle of last year.
Yeah.
But Papa Lee was much more involved, which you're obviously going to need out of him going forward.
And, I think he misses this week, but maybe lock suits him. Maybe get him in the middle, get him doing a bit of that work.
Yeah, absolutely. Your middles were a bit disappointing, to be honest.
Yeah.
Some of those guys in the middle there. Not that Newcastle were much better. They were just probably a little bit more consistent with their work rate in the middle of the field. Thought Buller and Olam were decent. They were the best of the outside backs for the Tigers. I thought
Buller was low-key, I don't say great, but very, very good.
Especially in the first half.
I thought he was in attack. He's incredible to watch when he, whatever it is, he'll be running and you go, why is he only jogging? Then all of a sudden everyone around him starts running slower and all of a sudden he's like...
jet off.
No, but he just, however, he just, I don't know, it's glides across the ground, but he'll move and then all of a sudden he's got a break on people and no one's catching him.
It's that step.
Especially off that drop
where
out.
he straightens or...
Yeah, but he must have a long leg stride.
Generally find it's when he changes, it's the change of direction. Yeah. He's got that really good pickup off the first 2 steps.
All of a sudden, everyone around him looks like they're standing still.
Yeah. Where was I? I thought Appy and Clem were good, as was Twal. Sullivan had mentioned very good. Papa Lee outstanding. The back 5 were all good for Newcastle.
Yeah.
The standouts we mentioned, Best and Gagai were fantastic out there. Hastings had another decent game. Doing what he needs to get him around the field. Lucas was good again.
Yeah, he was.
Very, very physical type of player. I'm not sure if he's a centre or a back rower, but
he gets away with both.
He's pretty good on that edge.
If you didn't have Bradman Best there, you'd look at maybe playing him in centres, but they do.
Yep, I thought Frizzell, Marzu and Brayley were all very good. Brayley's really starting to fix up, obviously with a bit of extended time. He just seems to be getting better week on week at the moment for Newcastle. Grab and best, absolute difference in the game.
Not much to add. Like, we've spent longer in this game, which was a game. They looked rough, but I thought Staines tried hard. I thought Naden tried hard. Yay them.
The defence has always been their issue.
Exactly. Well, you can't have both. I think you got to. And I would probably lean towards Naden, probably away from a wing.
Well, not next to each other anyway.
No.
You might be able to get away with them on either side of the field. Maybe. Anyway. 3 points, Braden Best. Two Papi. Like I said, I was going to make the case one for Buller, but also happy to have one for Gay Guy, Armstrong, Frizzell, Brayley, Sullivan.
Thoughts?
Frizzell, I thought.
Okay.
I thought the amount of work he got through
the first
on
two
that edge.
Yeah,
absolutely. It wasn't if nobody else was getting through too.
And that's only because they won. Like, you flip the result, you flip the points, I guess. Go with Frizzell, but honorary mention to Jareem. Right, and we went to, Super Saturday didn't immediately get a lot better, 28-14. The Dragons over Souths, who pretty much couldn't get out of their own way for the first 20 minutes, but pretty much the rest of the game too, to be honest. What the stats say?
4 tries to 3, 3 out of 4 conversions played, 1 out of 3, 2 out of 2 penalty attempts for the Dragons, 1 out of 1 2-point field goal right on half-time for the Dragons, 12-6 at half-time, 82% completion played, 66%. 172 plus running metres for the Dragons and 103 plus post-contact metres. 2 line breaks to 1, 28 tackle busts to 24, 6 offloads to 4, 251 plus kicking metres for the Dragons also. 4 forced dropouts to 1, 339 tackles played, 355, 9 errors to 15, 3 penalties conceded to 4. 1 ruck infringement against the Dragons, 2 inside the 10s, played 4. Lomax with 84 Supercoach points, Sewer with 78, Jack DeBellum with 75, and Latrell Mitchell with 70.
What'd you make of this?
It was a bit of a mess for the first 20 minutes this game.
First 20 minutes, if Dragons hold the ball, they could have been ahead. It could have been like the Roosters game, to be honest.
Yeah, a whole heap of errors, penalties, ruck infringements. Dragons were on top with field position, with the forwards doing a decent job through the middle. Hunt's kicking game was very important. Late on the first try, obviously, with the nice little grubber in behind. Latrell somehow ended up with 2 tries and 2 try assists in this game.
Like, he genuinely, if he didn't score that second try, he was getting pot planted. Yeah. For sure.
He gifted him 1, almost gifted him 2 tries.
And he may well more think about this, but yeah, he's somehow
there kicking at things.
Only because he scored all their points. I don't know if I can pot plan him, but gosh, he's freaking close.
He dead set spent half an hour walking around behind the hooker and behind the play. Yeah. Like, just no interest in getting involved at all. If you want to see the bloke who's not interested in getting involved, look behind the hooker. Because they're generally always standing directly behind the fucking hooker, walking around in circles, so that they can't be involved in the play.
Exactly.
And he did a lot of that in this game, and a lot of walking around out the back, making sure he was on the opposite side of the field to where the ball was going. Don't believe me? Go watch the replay.
There are actual.
I reckon half an hour is probably generous for him, to be honest.
Some actually put up screenshots with the ball going right and him like walking left, looking out the back. But anyway.
The story of the game really was the Dragons were better at converting points. They were better at getting into positions, and once they were there, being able to convert the opportunities a lot more regularly than Souths were. Any decent attack that come from Souths came after Tallis Duncan came on the field and Tom Burgess, because they were the guys that were really making an impact in the middle of the field. Obviously Burgess with his strong carries and Tallis with some really good leg speed to get into the line, and they were making a dent there. Cookie was really involved. He was trying his guts out. Played a bit of 7. He was getting as involved as he could. It really didn't help because there was more blokes from the Dragons team that were really ripping in, and they were putting in plenty of effort through the middle of the field. Likes of Jack DeBellin.
I was going to say, you mentioned the bench players, but DeBellin and Laurie both came on and played. I thought DeBellin was fantastic in this game, actually. Really good. And Jack Bird had his best game. The other Jack was looked very dangerous a couple of times.
Yeah, aggressive, pushing people around. And, the Dragons just had more workers willing to go through the middle of the field, and they did it for a lot longer than Souths did. A lot of short kicks at the line for the Dragons, which was obviously a ploy. Latrell Mitchell was out of position just about 80% of the time when the ball was kicked in behind the line. A couple of times he was nowhere to be seen, to be honest. I was really disappointed. I expected him to come back with a point to prove, and, I owe this club something after 3 weeks suspension.
This is a thing to me, and that's the most, anyone that's listening to the show for an extended period of time knows
we love him.
How much we love him. Generally at his best, is my favourite player in the game. I thought, right, Tommy's gone down injured, no Cleary did it, come out, own the Dragons, run 200 metres, have 18 tackle busts, get picked for New South Wales, and they're off to the races again, and just took no part, essentially.
Yep.
I mean, I'm sure he went to sheds and said, I scored 2 tries.
Dived on a couple of drip balls to score tries. It's a really nice pass to put the winger away. Which, you do expect from him, but it was a lovely flat ball to get out to the winger to score in the corner.
But my question is, if not now, when? When?
Yeah, as I said, really disappointed. I thought, coming back with a point to prove, being out for 3 weeks, suspended, and then...
And he probably only had to have a halfway reasonable game, and he gets picked for Origin. I would have thought. I would have picked him.
Another 5 or 6 involvements, realistically. But there was so much time he just spent, looking to avoid being involved. Thompson on the wing and Arrow were good. I mentioned Duncan and Burgess. They were really good in the short, limited minutes that they had. Moale and Kulamatangi did a decent job. Were very good in the middle of the field. Mitchell was very good and very bad. But was very bad for much longer than he was very good. But the good involvements did tally on the scoreboard. Cook was South's best, I thought. Looking to get involved. Did plenty of work in the middle of the field again. And was really trying to get on the back of anything good. He was trying to get himself involved and get points for the South team. Flanagan, Selle were decent. Laurie and Francis Moller, I thought, had good impact in this game. Limited minutes again. You mentioned Bird. I don't think either of us mentioned Sloan. I thought he had a pretty decent game. He was very good at different times.
He still feels like he's not quite as involved as he might be. You sit and go, right, time for Sloan, and he's not there either. But he'd have involved. He nearly missed. He just missed on a grubber. Put a couple of nice kicks through. Was involved enough, but you just feel like he should be Reece Walshing at times. Yeah.
Lomax, Jack DeBellin were very good, and Hunt and Sewer I thought were probably the 2 best on the field.
Yeah.
Hunt's involvements.
I had DeBellin in that conversation, actually, but yeah. Why don't we go 3? What do you think? Which one's getting 3?
I had Hunt, Sewer, and then Jack DeBellin.
There we go. There it is.
But yeah.
There we go. And then we got to the main event. 25-18. 18 all with 4 minutes left.
Yes.
Blown open with the Talakai try. What did the stats say? And I will let you indulge yourself.
3 tries to 4. 2 out of 3 conversions played, 4 out of 4. 1 out of 1 penalty attempts for the Storm. 1 out of 1 field goal attempts for Cronulla. 12 all at halftime. 82% completion for the Storm. 86% for Cronulla. 4 line breaks apiece. 31 tackle busts played, 35. 13 offloads for the Storm, 6 for Cronulla, 1 forced dropout to 2. 140-20 for the Storm, 336 tackles played, 351. Both teams made 9 errors, 4 penalties conceded to 8, 2 ruck infringements to 1, 1 inside the 10 apiece, and a sin bin for the Storm. Katoa with 92 Supercoach points, Tyron Wishart with 85, and Cam McGuinness with 84.
Well, you would have been a happy little Vegemite at full time, Barney. So
absolutely, I was. Off that was it off the dropout where Mulatalo turned him inside out and beat 4 or 5 blokes, and then Talakai gets the ball and just runs away. I was absolutely losing my shit in the garage. Yes, it was. I was pretty up and about for a good hour after the game, to be honest.
Wow,
but,
how lucky was your missus, eh?
No, she was already asleep.
Hey, even better sometimes.
But
sorry, no way to do with any consent. Come on, move on.
Yeah, another week, another win. Damaged opposition, Still haven't beat anyone above us on the ladder. What do you say?
They didn't have their spine. You're allowed to say it. Remember that? They didn't have their spine.
Yeah, no 6, no 7. And they were missing Rudolph as well. But what do you say? Fantastic game, up-tempo, physical for the majority of the game. Both teams are having a real full-on crack at each other. Neither team were clinical in attack. Obviously, it has to do with a few of the outs for both teams. But it was an absolute battle, right down to the last.
And real seesaw in terms of
20 seconds, realistically.
What we've seen a fair bit of 15 minutes one way, 15 minutes the other.
Yep.
You just think, okay, now this game's going to open up, and all of a sudden momentum will just gradually be wrestled back, and suddenly you're going, okay, now Sharks are home, and then the last 10 minutes you thought, oh, Melbourne are going to win this, and they you're looking around, you right?
No.
Yeah. And then Sharks just smart decision to go for that early. Obviously turned out smart, but
early field goal.
The 6-minute field goal rather than trying to go too deep into that set. But who do you want to wrap first? Where do you want to start? Meet your old mate there, Atkinson.
Yeah, mate, what a first time you lead a team around on the field.
Fantastic.
NRL game, first time you've had to actually take control, take the reins, and he was fantastic. A lot of his kicking game was pretty on point. Defended quite well for a bloke who's not massive by any means, and had plenty of traffic run at him as well, even though they were running more at Brayley, which I didn't quite understand, because I know you can bump him off, but he's generally still hanging onto your legs. And, they got him out there defending next to Cam McGuinness and Ramian, who were two of the Sharks' better defenders.
Yeah.
I thought they probably would have been better to switch to the other side of the field a little bit more than that, but that was the way that played out.
Well, it's just natural. It's just Munster's side.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Obviously, big change of momentum right on half-time with the try for the Sharks for Oregon Kafusi. The sin bin which led to that, 3 minutes before, I think it was.
And that was the daily double that, and then to give that try off the grounding, when it was set up as a no try, there was zero evidence to suggest he grounded that.
I went back and watched it quite a few times.
And you found some?
Yeah. He's got his hand wrapped around the ball the whole way down until it hits the ground. The moment it hits the ground, it comes out.
Some of the ground lines too. Ever since that Appy try, I swear, some of the stuff they give.
He's got it sort of held between his wrist and his elbow, and then as soon as it hits the ground, it comes out. You can see his hand wrapped around the inside of the ball.
I'll take your word for it. And we'll move on.
With lovely little short ball again from Hazelton to put him over. And, they really shouldn't have been missing that player, which probably would have been Harry Grant that would have been there to make that tackle. Yeah. Which, did swing the momentum, but it was still a very, very close game at that point, and could have gone either way just in those few minutes at halftime. Sharks didn't really press their hand as much as I would have liked to see them try and hit the edges a bit more than they did, but they went for the controlled forward play through the middle.
They just came out and said, okay,
we've got to dumb it down. We've got to play as simple as possible.
They're missing a couple in the forward pack, and they decided they were going to target the middle. Yeah. And they did. They did it fantastic.
They did a really good job working it over, and there was probably that 10 to 15 minutes before half-time and 20 minutes into the second half, they really went hard through the middle, and they targeted the Melbourne's forwards. And they were dominant for that 35 sort of minute period, 10 minutes before and 20 minutes into the second half. They were just tearing through the middle of the Melbourne defence. They weren't pulling it to pieces, but they were just constantly bending the line and hammering away, and it took its toll towards the back end of the game. You could see, obviously, both teams were getting pretty tired, but Melbourne's middle seemed to be more tired than anybody else on the field. Yeah. Which probably leads a little bit towards the way Mulatalo was able to beat 4 or 5 blokes off that drop-off at the back end of the game. Throw in them
trying to scramble with 12 blokes at 10.
Melbourne seemed to be creating more issues for the Sharks against the Sharks early than what the Sharks were. They were really stretching the Sharks at the start of this game.
Two breakout performances at halfback. First, Cam McGuinness playing halfback for the Sharks. He was very good, but Tyron Wishart had again, another one that had game of his life.
Yeah, pop it up on both sides of the field.
He was just everywhere. Looked like he was going to break through every time he touched
Lots
the ball.
Lots of really short, sharp passes. And
set up at the first try assist, had a kick for another. It's fantastic. Like,
when he wasn't passing, he was stepping and challenging the defence.
You see games like this, and it goes back to the old, if you're good enough, and they're both a little bit more seasoned than just some 18-year-old out of...
Mm-hmm.
And I think... I will say the theme to the breakout players this year, these two, Trey Fuller, Schneider to a lesser extent, those sort of ones, is they are seasoned 24, 25-year-olds that have had their fair... Armstrong have had a seasoning in New South Wales Cup or whatever it might be first, as opposed to just being thrown in raw. So I will say there's that, but I thought he was... Like, you watch this, if you were a bottom four club, you'd be going, if you were the Bulldogs, then what can we do to get Tyron Wishart here?
Absolutely.
What we do to get Atkinson here? Like, it's just... They looked fantastic.
Munster's pass for that try was probably the best pass thrown all night. Lovely flat ball across the face. Put what's his name, Remy Smith in without a finger laid on him. Sharks probably didn't read that the best, but lovely ball. Against the play too, because the Sharks were probably on top during that fraction, and then as soon as they got down there, lovely pass, and they got in there. But I mentioned the big turning point in the game. There's not really a great deal to say. Sharks forwards were probably just that. Well, they were a fair bit better realistically in attack and defence.
I thought Qatar and Bloor were great.
Yes,
Qatar was very great.
Mm-hmm.
Walsh tried hard. And then you could see the difference in class, I thought. Just intense. And I think when it's like all the good teams, when you get a roll and you got people going, your Kafusis and your next cab of the rank want to run just as hard. Mm-hmm. And I think that was on show here.
Yep. Where was I? Tis.
It is.
Rugby League.
Sharks and the Storm at the moment. Sharks and the Storm, yeah. Bring everyone back in. But go on, Barn. Yeah. What's your name? What's your name, Jim? Hatchie. Where have you been? You've been out and about.
Well, we had a funeral tonight.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
I just got dropped off. I'm staying
out the back.
Yeah.
I've actually seen you blokes here a couple of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're here a fair bit.
Yeah, just about every Tuesday. So check it out. Yeah. No, all good. But, talking to Sharks and the Storm at the moment. Yeah. Mm-hmm. YouTube, Spotify, everywhere you can find us, we'll be there. You'll be there now. You'll be there. Anyone you want to give a shout out to, Hatchie? Who do you follow?
I'm a Dragon supporter.
Yeah. I was going to say sorry about that, but it's been all right this year.
We're doing okay.
It's been better. It definitely has been better.
Dragons fan?
Above our expectations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, well, he knows what he's doing, Flanagan. Yeah. Certainly.
It's definitely got them fitter than they have been the last couple of years.
Thank you. Sure. He had a good game on the weekend too. Yeah. Definitely. Storm.
Yeah, we're just wrapping the game up. It was just that thought Christian Welsh was pretty good, as was Liero for the Storm. As you mentioned, I thought Bloor was fantastic. Really strong running game again. Some of those good offloads. He's going 100 times better. He's gone down there. I thought Munster was great, and you mentioned Wishart was probably the best player on the field for big parts of the game. Yeah, he was really exposing the outside edges of the defence from the Sharks. The back five were brilliant again for the Sharks, all running up near 200 metres as they do week in, week out. Ramey and Mulatalo were probably the standouts from the Sharks in majority of the game, especially at the back end.
What's your take on, there's been a bit of talk about Ramey in Origin. Are you buying into that at all?
Fantastic defensive centre. gets a little bit lost in attack when he sort of goes searching back through the middle and wandering around where I'd much rather see him hit the tram tracks a bit harder and go a bit more direct.
Well, he just doesn't, for a strike centre, he's going to sound stupid, but he doesn't score a lot of tries.
No, he doesn't.
It's pretty simple, but, you know, your other centres of the same calibre come up with 15, 16 tries a year, and he doesn't, so...
Yeah, you get him in and around the squad, possibly, but he's ageing as well, so he's not over the hill by any means, but when you've got the options of Crichton and Best, they're probably two better options there. Talakai was good again off the bench, obviously scoring the winning try. Hazelton was great. He's the last month of footy that bloke's been putting in, he's been right up there with the best forwards in the comp, I would say. McGuinness and Atkinson were probably... the Sharks' two best players, especially creative-wise in attack. So,
young Failunga was good again. He obviously has something to offer. He's just so quick. But they handled him really well, I thought. They shut him down most times and just thought, oh, here he goes. And another team, he cracks them open, but he handled them really well.
They pressured him from the inside and forced him on the outside.
Yeah.
And they were able to just sort of pick him up and push him across the field a bit, which he really relies on that change of direction and the pace back through the middle where he seems to cut teams open. But they shut down Grant, I thought, really well.
Yeah.
They nullified his running game.
A brilliant battle between those two. I thought it was sort of on from the start, and it was almost like they went out to shut each other down.
Yeah, I didn't mention Brayley either. I thought Brayley was fantastic,
yeah.
Especially defensively, getting spotted up there in Nico Hines' defensive position. But he made a lot of crucial tackles out there, actually.
So as a Sharks fan, obviously, you get to be super excited now for a bit. You've still got Nico to come back. You've got a couple of other bodies still to come back. I guess your forward rotation is what it is now. You're Hamlin, Ueli, Rudolph, thereabouts. You're not missing too many?
Yeah, one of those guys is probably going to miss the team each week, unfortunately, at the moment. But, they've got a forward pack that's proved, especially in this game, that they can go with some of the best in the competition. Question marks around who ends up being outside Nico Hines, obviously, when he does come back. They're yet to really set the world on fire with their outside backs either, which we know they can. They've got the guys out there that can score plenty of tries, but they're yet to put anyone away. So apart from Canberra, who didn't play real well in that game. No. So.
And Storm, they'll get the cavalry back. They'll be right.
Good got a really good another 3 weeks, I think, with Penrith and Roosters this week and Penrith a week or two after.
Yeah, so you know the other side.
Know exactly what's going on
this
around
week's,
15
this
or so.
week's now the game.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
This week's now the game. 3 points to Atkinson, 2 to Wishart.
I gave Wishart.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. I thought you were just going to go the other way.
No.
And 1 to Nico.
One to Nico. No, McInnes.
Yeah.
Or Hazelton for the one for mine.
Yeah, I gave McInnes. So 3. I would have pushed harder for Wishart, so I agree.
Yeah, I thought Wishart was the best player on the field. No, he's fantastic and probably, as you said, was only a cover tackle or 2 away from scoring more points and probably winning them the game. So.
Yep. Let's go with that. We've lost Hatchie. He's gone now. Anyway, he had something. He was actually a good, tremendous story we were going to share. But Anyway, I wish him the best. 38-18. The AE was involved with Tyron Wishart's junior.
He's in the Steelers system, apparently.
Yeah, so that was all good. But
coaching
he's
in the
gone now.
Steelers system.
I even got him a mic. So shout out, actually, when you do check us out.
Yeah.
Come back. 38-18. Roosters over the Warriors in what started out as... I'll do the stats and we'll talk about it.
7 tries to 3, 5 out of 7 conversions, played 3 out of 3. 22-0 at half-time, 75% completion, played 79%. 198 plus running metres for the Roosters, 8 line breaks to 3. 38 tackle busts to 39, 16 offloads to 7, 1 forced dropout for both teams, 358 tackles made by the Roosters, 283 made by the Warriors, which doesn't make a lot of sense. 12 errors to 11, 2 ruck infringements to 2 inside the 10 to 1. 8 penalties conceded to 3. Young with 160 Supercoach points, Crichton with 99, Walker with 95, and Fanua Blake with 94.
Shout out to Dom for curing all my Supercoach pain this week.
All
bar one of the comps, actually. All bar the Podmaster Cup.
Help me out.
Shinagawa. Someone got me.
And I was very close to captaining him too, which is...
Well, I captained Guzzi. I wasn't as happy as I would have been, but I wasn't upset either. In a rough round for captains. Anyway, this looked like it was going to be 80 and ended up being not 80. It was halfway there. Basically because after 10 minutes when it was 22-0, the Roosters decided they were going to just play park footy for the next 20 and kept dropping the ball. But what an outstanding opening salvo.
Yeah, pretty good assessment there. 2 errors and 2 ruck infringements in about 5 minutes, and the Roosters just jumped all over the top of it. Lead 22-0 after 14 minutes. Lucky it wasn't 40-0 at half time, to be honest, as you mentioned. They did keep fighting, but they just couldn't stop the momentum. Even when the Roosters were turning over ball, they couldn't make them pay. Couldn't put them away, especially on the edges of the ruck. The Roosters were absolutely dominant on the edges of the ruck there with Guzzi and Nat Butcher and the likes on the edges, causing all sorts of problems. Young just walked over for the first try, set up by Manu, doing Manu things, dancing in front of a couple of people and then dragging in 3 defenders and flicking it out the back for Dom Young just to walk in for the first one. And then it was Crichton, just back to back, hitting the left edge, hitting the right edge, just causing all sorts of problems for a Warriors team that seemed very... Well, they're still in the sheds 15 minutes into this game.
Yeah.
There was, Fanua Blake was having a red-hot crack in the middle, so was Barnett, but there was a few of these guys out on the edges that just were not interested in putting their shoulders into a tackle.
Let's not spend heaps on them, but they're just not with us. It's simple as that. They're now playing 2022 Warriors football, and you just treat them like that, especially, and they're fucked now. They're fucked.
It's looking that way.
Their top 6 players are all gone, bar their front rower and bar Tohu, Blake and Egan.
Yep.
They're in dire. So I haven't even looked at their team for this week, but...
Walker looks across the other side of the field, goes, how the fuck do we get the ball out there? So he just boots the thing over there.
I love that. Sometimes I just love it.
There's no Warriors out there. Oh, fuck it, I'll kick it over.
Like I said, this game redeemed my love for league from the night before.
Yeah.
Even though the finish was a cracker and there was some great performances in the Melbourne game, I was still bitter about it all. But sometimes you just need a complete fucking blowout and you go, fuck, footy's fun sometimes. And to my point earlier about how the skill level's never been higher, but that was about my favourite moment where he just said, fuck it, I'm just going to kick. 9 out of 10 other halfbacks either take a hit up or just go through their hands and they score anyway.
Try to get it out there.
Yeah. He just goes, fuck, I'll just boot it over there.
And the Roosters were just laying such a good platform through the middle. They bettered the Warriors forward pack as, everyone's wrapped them up and said how good their forward pack is, but they were getting pumped in this game.
Remember, you go back a year and a half.
They weren't that good.
And it would be the first thing to collapse was their forward pack. So, anyway, we'll get to them. Go.
And just the way that they look to attack 2 or 3 times every set.
Yeah.
Whether sometimes it's through the middle with the likes of Watson out sniping, Walker changing the angle back through the middle and trying to open up the middle, but they generally always hit the edges 2 or 3 times every set of 6, and they're coming to pressure your defence. They're making you make decisions. They're playing up tempo, and they're trying to get one-on-ones and obviously overlaps and create holes out on the edges. And just the consistency of being able to do it is just stressing defences like nothing else. They're just tearing defences to shreds. And it's just that constant workover of their attacking spots. They know where they're going to attack, and they just keep going.
And then on top of that, now, in the 28th minute, Spencer Leniu comes on and comes off the back fence at 100 miles an hour.
It was his first run. He just barges through 4 blokes and takes them with him through the middle of the field. And
every year there's a team I fall in love, as you know, I fall in love with. And I thought it was going to be Melbourne, but no, I'm just in love with the Roosters now.
They're just playing really very direct, physical and fast, and this has been what we've been.
I have to love others
out.
because my mistress is no good to me at the Tigers.
Been calling out for the Roosters to play this way. This is the way we've been. When they haven't been good, we've been saying this is the way they need to play, and they're doing it, and they're doing it very well at the moment. It's just a totally different level to what the Warriors brought. The skill, the pace of the halves, and the back 5, they were flying, and the Warriors just looked sad, they're depressed, slow, uninterested, uninspired.
Waiting for the clock to run
just
down.
Looking to go through their plays and go through like an opposed training session. Just okay, we're going to hit that point of the field. We're going to. There's no pace. There's no
that's how they've
enthusiasm.
I said it. They've attacked this for 5 weeks now.
Yeah,
and that hasn't changed. Like I said, it's right. All right, Mitch, you have the first hit up. Then we're going to go back, and Kurt, you're going to run at the upright and outside, and then next is going to be Fanua Blake, and if we're lucky, we'll open up the hole there and he'll run over.
Yeah.
Then it's going to be Tohu at that upright,
and it's those three blokes.
And then we're going to kick to Dallin, and he'll either drop it or stand and put his arms in the air when it goes dead.
Fanua Blake, Barnett, and Harris are the only 3 blokes that are trying to get through the tackle. Like the rest of them are just running up, getting tackled, getting up and playing the ball.
Yeah.
At least those 3 are actually putting in a bit of mongrel and effort and actually trying to get defenders off.
That is not a knock on anyone I just mentioned. No, they're all fantastic footballers, but they're just going through it. It's so robotic.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, they did try hard in defence. They tried to keep it as close as they could, but yeah, they were really outclassed in this game. I thought Tohu, Walker, Barnett really worked hard, were decent. Ford, Chance, Nickel-Clockstad had very good games. You know what you're getting out of Clockstad every week. He just puts in huge amounts of effort. Ford, actually, he's one I left out too. He's another bloke who does actually try to get through the tackle and fight defenders off. But there's a lot of blokes in there that aren't. Fanua Blake again was their best. Back 5 were all very good for the Roosters. Their halves were fantastic. Butcher, Watson, Teddy, May, like you go through, just keep calling out names. They were all great.
Swiley was great.
Yes, yeah. His carries out of the backfield were enormous.
And they both of the centres went roaming. Decided after half time, I'll just pop up over here. He'll pop over there. I think one of the he didn't score. One of the almost tries was Manu setting up Swiley or vice versa. Swiley to Manu and he got held up anyway.
Walker and Watson were the creative spark, and Guzzi.
It's fantastic.
Guzzi and Young were brilliant in cashing in and scoring all those points.
You're going to talk about your Origin team soon. I assume Guzzi's at 11 or 12.
Yes, correct.
Good.
Correct. 3-2-1. I had Young with 3. Obviously, you don't have a night like that without topping the pops. He was just busting tackles for fun at different times. Ran for well over 200 metres. Just pushing guys off, setting up tries, line breaks, all the rest of it. Crichton again cashed in, but he had a shit ton of work that went along with the tries and everything else that came with it.
I agree with you, but if you'd flipped them, I wouldn't have argued. I would not have argued.
And then I had either Watson or Fanua Blake for the one.
Give it to Watson, who is great. And they don't have cheese yet, but if they can get back to sort of 40-minute cheese with Watson, 60 minutes.
But he's making 40 and 50 tackles, and he still looks like an absolute live wire with the ball in his hands.
Mate, you'd almost go back to bowling ball cheese. Play him off the bench. Come on at 20 minutes. Knock some blokes over.
It's the best he's looked for years, isn't it?
Been his best foot. I know he does. Maybe he doesn't give a shit and he's happy to do it. But he came, come here will be an 80-minute hooker, but he's not. So play him off the bench and win the comp. Will they win the comp?
We'll go very damn close.
Yeah.
We'll get a very good read out of this week. These are the two over the last 4 weeks.
Is that the Saturday night main event?
5:30.
Brisbane
Saturday 5:30.
No, Brisbane Manly.
No, it's a fucking Cowboys and South, I think. 7:30 game.
Yeah, beautiful.
Knock off early.
Vinny would be happy. He'd be at the pub. That might be the first. Anyway, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
2 teams that won't win the comp are the Titans and the Cowboys, 20-18, which end up being as I said earlier, a very, very ball. Well, because yeah. I know where I'm going.
What are you trying to say, man?
The fucking antibiotics have kicked in with the beers here. Titans held on with 14 blokes and some string between them over the Cowboys.
Who were coming to get them too, and it was pretty gutsy effort realistically for that last 10, 15
the last
minutes.
set was a gutsy effort. But they had their halfback gone, both halves gone, the fullback gone. I think Liu came on and sort of defended in to the stats. Anyway.
And if the Cowboys didn't play for 20 minutes, they would have won. But we had 3 tries apiece, 3 out of 3 conversions for both teams, 1 out of 1 penalty attempt for the Titans. It was 20-0 at half-time. 85% completion, played 68% for the Cowboys. 242-plus running metres for the Cowboys. 5 line breaks to 4, 44 tackle busts for the Titans, 22 for the Cowboys. 4 offloads to 11, 239-plus kicking metres for the Titans. 1 forced dropout for the Titans against the Titans. No, for the Titans. 322 tackles played, 369 tackles for the Cowboys. 7 errors to 14. 6 penalties conceded to 8. 3 ruck infringements apiece. 1 inside the 10 to 0. David Fafita with 98 Supercoach points. Nanai with 91. Bo Former with 76.
Yeah, well, as we said, do you want to start at the start or the beginning or the end?
We'll start at the start. And
it's a very good place to start.
The Cowboys, for the majority of the first half, dead set looked like one of the worst teams I've ever seen play a game of football.
Titans should have won this game. Titans should be up by 30.
Yeah, 30-40 at halftime.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were falling off tackles, watching people run past, like balls just bouncing off guys' chests and ending up either landing directly back into the Titans' hands or going over the sideline. Completely confused, unorganised. I know Chad's got a kicking game, but he has got sweet fuck all these days, realistically. He kicks to corners.
We just talked about...
He doesn't take the ball
They are
into the
not
line.
far off the Warriors' attack. But they just get up and they get there and they'll go left and they'll go right. Then Deed will run and then they'll go right again and they'll go left and then either Feld will fall out of touch or...
But even Dearden seemed half interested in this game too, which you don't normally see out of him.
Well, another one, I nearly thought about planning him, to be honest, because if he was worth his salt, he would have won in this game, but or at least got him some points. But yeah, I agree with you, 100%. Their attack was embarrassingly bad.
Their defence wasn't much better.
No, and it was only lucky that the Titans' attack wasn't quite there either.
No, it definitely wasn't humming. It probably sounds a bit insulting to the Titans because they were physical and determined, but they just couldn't quite get everything to click into gear. But I reckon there was about 8 times in the first half of this game where I just said, what the fuck is wrong with these blokes? Why? Why? You've seen, 2 years ago it was fantastic. Last year it was bits and pieces and good games and bad games. But I don't think I've seen them play a worse game of footy for 4 or 5 years. It was horrendous in that first half. And again, they didn't start having a crack until the last 20 minutes when the game was pretty much fucking over.
Yeah, the best player was Tamalolo.
And he has been good for him for the last couple of weeks.
But he dragged their asses back into it. He said, well, I'm going to start this. And
Nano
had some good, hit the 2 nice holes there.
Yeah. And then they just, once the game's almost gone, they suddenly remember how to attack properly and blokes actually start running into the line and actually putting pressure on defenders and taking guys with them and doing the shit that they should be doing for the majority of the game. And it just was so bad in that first half.
Ruben Connor tried his absolute arse.
Drinkwater should never have scored that first. Fafita should never have scored that try from dummy half.
No.
There was 4 blokes there. And he just
and he didn't even, there wasn't, he said, he picked it up and said, I'm scoring now.
Yeah, I'm just going to dive over the line and fucking stop me. But Fermor was brilliant on an edge. They had some really good performances in this game. AJ stays on the field. He probably goes close again to winning man of the match. He was involved in a lot early. Cowboys didn't deserve to get close, realistically.
No.
I know.
Hence night at kicking in. I might be home late, Mariah, just so you know.
They were hanging on by, as you said, a shoestring at the back end of the game being held together with tape and nobody left on the bench. And they were completely exhausted by the end of the footy. But, the Val and Drink worked, but, had way too many errors. Val Holmes these days is
Don't
quite
tell me he's in
good
a
for an
Queensland
error.
team.
He is, but...
By default?
Yeah, he plays. You fucking put him in that jersey. He's a different player.
Yeah, well, he's not doing like he's I don't want to say he's Latrell levels, but he's not having a good year.
No, he's definitely not.
I'm a Val fan as well as you know, Mark.
Worked hard, way too many errors. Robson and Tamalolo were very good. McCarley, I don't know why Thomas McKaylee didn't get more minutes. Like, he was having a good impact when he was out there. And
I feel like a lot of how Todd Payton coaches is he has like his notebook and it just says 25 minutes, do this, 32 minutes, do this. And this is why we said that's why Tamalolo only gets X. If you said to Tamalolo, mate, I need you to go out and win us a game, I'm sure Gelfie's asking, I'll do it. But you can say, oh, yeah, no, we don't have a plan for him to do 19 minutes today. Anyway.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Cotter worked his ass off. I thought Neem was pretty decent as well, and Nanai had very good games for the Cowboys. They're just not working hard enough in the middle, realistically, the Cowboys at the moment. And you've got bits and pieces that are going hard, but there's too many blokes that aren't having a proper crack. Kelly, Mo, Randall were all okay from the Titans team. Jolliffe,
it was a low bar, but it was Mo's best game all year. Mo
definitely a low bar, but
yeah.
he was going pretty strong.
Yeah, from where he's
previous
been.
years, yeah. Jolliffe, Foran, and Haas were all very good. I thought they had strong games. Clace Haas is actually starting to turn into quite a decent back rower in the game at the moment. Jojo Fafita and Fermor had great games. Throw AJ in there as well. Obviously, injury cruelled his night off, but
he was AJ was fantastic. Like he, he popped up everywhere. He basically played as fullback.
I still had him down as 2 points. And
And if he stays in the field, he was 3. I assume you give him Fafita 3.
Okay, Fafita 3.
Well, the other 2. And when you've got 2 weapons like that, you're always in the game.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter now because what's he done? He's groin, so I don't know how long he's out for.
Yeah.
But if I believe Jaden Campbell's now looming, he's around.
Yeah. Okay. Something.
I wouldn't be moving AJ from 1. I'd just say go and
when he comes
go
back.
and play 7 and put 4 in at 6. Well, like they're all out, so it doesn't matter.
Yep.
This game will cost them for a month. You see these games in league a lot, and they'll win a game like this, and it'll cost them the next 3 weeks.
3 out of the next 4 weeks. Yeah.
You see it heaps, but
Nanoi or both for more for the one.
Both of them Nano was good, but give it to Bo because Bo has put together a great month since they've got their season back on track. He's been great, and I thought Sammy and Kelly, you've mentioned them, but 2 of our perennial punching bags, have been good this year.
They're always good in attack when given the right opportunities. Their biggest problem is when they get spotted in defence.
Speaking of defence, did you mention? Sorry, I was looking over there. That like realistically, Cowboys should have scored another 4 tries, and their scramble from the Titans.
No, I didn't mention it actually.
But the first 20 minutes, second half, Cowboys did create chances, and the Titans scramble was fantastic. Viliami Valia's ability to do anything with the football was less than fantastic. So weigh that up. I don't know.
Yeah.
But in another world, Cowboys could have won this game 32-20 as well. But
old mate, the other fucking winger.
Felt. Yeah, he's
no, not Felt. Valame. Trying to fucking catch bombs with his feet and kicking it straight back to people. Like, what the fuck, man?
I might have pop planted the wrong one here. Valame. One of them's getting pop planted, and now I'm second guessing. Anyway, we'll get there. But man, that was a bottom 4 performance. And
it was.
If you're a Titans fan, hey, you'll be right. You'll win. Well, not this month, but back in the year, you'll probably win a couple of games. I guess we need to talk about said pop plans, don't we?
We do.
Oh no, do you want to touch on your Origin team because I did put it out this week.
Sure.
And I've been crook ever since and didn't do it. We did have a couple right in. Let me look at this. Where are we here?
How do you want me to go about it? You want the ones and then the twos, or
just read your
team and team?
Just read your team because we always do a proper Origin preview, so we will keep that for then. And God, we talk a lot of shit in this chat. All right, where's this? Where's Danon's team?
Well, I'll start off with my Queensland team. All right. So I've got Reece Walsh at 1. Xavier Coates at 2, given he comes back fine from injury this week and going into, obviously, Origin. Val Holmes at 3. Hammer, again, pending how he returns from injury, at 4. Cobbo at 5. Munster at 6. DCE at 7. Lindsay Collins at 8. Grant at 9. Cotter at 10. Nanai 11. David Fafita 12. Carrigan 13. Hunt at 14. Griffin Neem at 15. Hopgood at 16 and Welsh at 17.
Christian. Yeah.
Christian Welch, 17. And Ezra Mam as 18th player.
Yeah. I don't think there's too much out of the ordinary there, is there? So we'll move on. Like I said, if there was another Queensland centre knocking the door down,
unless you're going to go back to Gay Guy, I don't think they will.
He's playing better footy than Val, but I don't think he will either. And your New South Wales team?
I've gone with Tedesco at fullback. I think give him a chance to ride off in the sunset. This will be his last series.
I wish I'd listened to your Queensland team because I would have commented as we went. But anyway, let me look at it now. Yeah, that's about right. Go on. Teddy will be fullback and captain now.
Yep.
It's no brainer.
He's been playing fantastic through the middle again, back to the best that we've seen out of him. It's been his best year in probably a couple of years, and considering he got picked last year, pick him again. Brian Toto on the wing, Stephen Crichton at 3, Bradman Best at 4, Lomax at 5. I just think it's an option with the jumping, especially in the air to a corner there. I've gone with Burton at 6, outside of Nico Hines, Haas at 8, Apisai Coruscant at 9, Jake Drabojevic at 10, Liam Martin 11, Crichton 12, Yo 13. Gone with McGuinness as 14 as the utility. Play anywhere in the forwards, play a bit of hooker, a bit of halfback if you need it. Ola Kawatu at 15. I've gone with Barnett as a forward coming through there. And depending on how you want to set up, I've gone with Hazelton as 17. If you're going to play your 3 big middles through the middle, I don't think he will let anyone down the way he's been playing, especially on the ball. And his defence is really strong as well. So I've gone with him, but if you want to set up with an extra outside back, I've gone Hudson Young. My 18th man, I had 3 options here. Obviously, again, the way you want to go about it. Edwards, Elliott, but I'm going with Connor Watson as my 18th man. Another one that can play anywhere in the halves. You could, at a pinch, play him in centres, hooker. So,
all things being considered, I reckon I agree with you. I don't have much to add there. I've been pretty close. I actually think Alakawatu's played himself out of a spot in the last month, but
he's been out for 2 weeks,
there
which
is
doesn't
that.
help.
But I can't think of anyone I would want to rush back in front of him.
Maybe Hudson Young.
Yeah. No, I'll stick with him. If he's off the bench, I wouldn't start him. I'd trust Guzzi to play.
Well, the size and the shape of him, at the end of the day, if you need to throw him in the middle, I'm sure he can punch out 20 minutes in the middle.
Well, you know, you get 80 out of Jake. If you need, you can get.
And then I'm sure he'll wander out to the edge.
You get 80 out of Guzzi. You get 80 out of Guzzi, then he can work the rest out and move someone in the middle. Hazen's only there for 10 minutes. I agree with Connor Watson because he would have been my Smokey. Because he can play anywhere.
You could put Spencer Leniu in there instead of Hazelton.
Leniu would have been, if Leniu, I reckon if Lenu's been around all year, he makes a team.
But the last month from Hazelton, in my opinion, would get him over the line. He's been top 3, 4 for props in the game. In the last
Stefano, the other one in the conversation.
Originally had him in there, but I scribbled him out because he's gone missing for the last 3 weeks. So.
But I agree with that. He's been a bit like a Loma there. He's just these first 6 weeks fantastic. First 8 or 9 weeks were fantastic. All right, I'll put that up on Facebook and everyone can pour scorn on us. And we will go to our pot plant. It was quite the week for pot plants when I've thought about this.
It was a few of them.
Who have you got?
I went with Charlie Staines. I thought he really got showed up in defence, spotted up. And if they weren't making breaks directly through him, it was on his inside or outside. And he just does not seem to communicate at all in defence with his inside man.
I'm going to go with Semi Valemate for the kick to try assist, the 3 drop balls over the line, the forward pass, everything he did, the missed tackles. Bonus points to Jack Gazowski for his Brisbane debut, which may have been the worst Brisbane debut of all time. There was someone else that we talked about that I'm throwing in. I can't remember. And honorary mention to Latrell because if he didn't score 2 tries, he would have been definitely in there. Have you actually no? Well, I'm going to roll it over because I'm just going to have to slap Latrell to try and wake him up. It's my last ditch slap, but after this, I'm still going to stop mentioning him.
Yep.
Because I'm so disappointed.
That's fine.
I'm also going to slap the people apparently who were racially abusive again because it's uncalled for and I think it's disgusting. It is, yeah. All our stuff comes from a place of love because you just want to see him be the best Latrell he can be.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so he will be thou who shall not be mentioned going forward if he doesn't pick his
like
act
the bunker and like
Yeah.
Annesley and like whoever else I banned last week.
I've gone and slapped Flanagan, the coach of the Dragons.
Okay.
You know, it's one of my pet peeves. You've got a second hooker on, you play him for 6 minutes. The bloke has 3 runs and makes 5 tackles. What the fuck are you doing? Give your forwards a break and put a big bloke in there and get your rotation going through the middle, because there was times where they did look quite tired in the middle, and a better South team would have come back and probably grabbed them. But yeah, why are you playing Whanamanu Brown for 6 minutes?
Good question. The other one I was going to mention for Pot Plant was Drew Hutchinson, 7 missed tackles and essentially 0 attacking involvement in that game, in a game where Canterbury in that second half probably should have got home, realistically. I don't have a salute just there, so who have you got one?
I got double. Bradman Best. He's really confirmed himself as a block-busting running centre there, and probably secured that New South Wales jersey for himself this weekend. And Atkinson, as we mentioned earlier, to come in, and control a first-grade team in your first game in the halves. I thought it was a fantastic effort.
Well, if you're going to yin, I'll yang ya, and I'll salute Tyron Wishart. What a coming to age as a first-grade halfback. Outstanding game. You'd almost say deserved to win. Well, he did, at least. So, brilliant. Overall, an entertaining round of rugby league that broke me at times, but we got through it, as always. And we will check us out on YouTube if you haven't. Leave us some opinions below. Instagram, Threads, Facebook. And we will be back to do our Magic Round preview, which is now just 2 days away. Can't wait. Very soon. Bye, guys.